Now, my channel isn't a straight up top 10 channel. I do a lot of different kinds of videos, but my most popular videos by far are my top 10 videos. And out of my top 10 most viewed videos, 7 of them are top 10 videos. And the other 3 are just normal list videos. I know I'm saying all this like it's a bad thing or something, but it's not really. It's not like I hate making them or anything. In fact, I kinda like most of them. So for April Fool's Day, I'll rate my top 10 favorite top 10 videos I've made. Mainly because I get asked in my streams all the time to make a top 10 video on my top 10 videos. And with this, I can finally say that I've already done it. Number 10, the top 10 classes in WoW. This video was the very first top 10 video I made on my channel, and it was meant as a joke. After all, at the time there were only 11 classes, so how could there be a top 10 on that? It's a short little video in which I call all the other classes bad in comparison to the priests, and surprisingly it did very well. It was by far my most viewed video on my channel for quite some time, which was kind of worrying because it had a ton of dislikes, and if that was people's first introduction to my channel, they would get the wrong idea about what kind of videos I actually did make. But at the same time, I didn't really care and I liked getting a lot of views. And since my joke top 10 video did so well, it made me wonder how well a real top 10 video would do. Number 9, the top 10 hardest raid bosses in WoW. This video is currently my most viewed video on my channel, and is probably the reason I was able to do YouTube as a full-time job. The video itself took quite a while to research, and at the time I was putting myself on a schedule of make sure you upload 1 video a week, every week on Saturdays. And since this video took so long to research, I was way behind schedule. So I did a rush job on the visuals, which weren't all that great in the first place, and I put out the video. It did okay at first. I remember being kind of disappointed with its low view count after uploading it, since I thought it was a very interesting topic. So, after about a week or two with the video at only around 5,000 views, I posted it to Reddit. Now, the WoW subreddit does not like YouTube videos. The things that hit the front page are almost always pictures, short GIFs, or text posts. And they especially don't like list videos. Reddit hates anything that could be considered clickbait, which includes all kinds of list videos no matter what. So, color me surprised when the video hit the front page the next day and doubled the view count from 5 to 10k. I thought that was great, so many new views, but I knew it would fall off eventually. The next day, it was no longer on the front page of the WoW subreddit, but its view count doubled again, from 10 to 20k, which I thought, okay, that's cool. I don't know why it's getting more views, but that's great anyway. And for the next 6 months, it just kept getting more and more views. Within a month of its release on my channel, it was my most viewed video on my channel by a large margin. I also gained a ton of subscribers from people who saw the video and then checked out my channel and watched all my other videos. It was like trickle-down economics in practice, except it actually worked. And I'd like to say it stopped at some point, but nope, it still just keeps getting more and more views, and was my first video to get over 1 million views. The reason it did all this was because YouTube has this inbuilt system where they recommend videos to people if they do well, and they almost never recommend videos from small channels. This top 10 video did so well that YouTube decided to recommend it as well, even though I only had around 5,000 subscribers at this time, which I guess opened the floodgates to all my other videos as well, because now YouTube does this all the time with all of my new videos. Well, I mean, except Dave and DevBot. And it's how I get about half of my views. And I have the top 10 hardest raid bosses video to thank for all that. Or maybe it was just like the first one, and it just happened to be the lucky one that opened up the floodgates for YouTube to finally start recommending my videos. That being said, I really don't like the video. The information is nice and everything, but it's not a well put together video, like, at all. I even used, like, Hearthstone footage for one of the bosses. Because I didn't want to go out and get the footage because I didn't have time. Number 8. The top 10 quest chains in WoW. I think this was my first multi-part video because its total runtime is nearly 1 hour, at around 58 minutes. I also think it's probably the longest I've worked on a video just because of all that goes into making a 1 hour long, fully scripted, heavily edited video. But it was a long time ago, so I don't remember exactly. What I do remember is that I got my new computer after making part 1, so the second half of the video looks better than the first, because I still had footage from my shitty laptop. I don't like making videos into parts, but sometimes it just can't be helped. Like if I'm making a top 10 video that's an hour long. Number 7, the top 10 broken things in WoW. I remember this was the first video voted on by my Patreons when I first made a Patreon. You see, while I was able to do YouTube full-time, I came into an unexpected expense, and I didn't have enough money to pay for it, and all my bills. So I was desperate for cash and opened up a Patreon as a way to hopefully make enough to get by, as well as a few other things. Well, that's not what happened. I only got one person to pledge $1 for like 6 months. But things worked themselves out eventually, so it wasn't really a big deal. I also didn't make a video to announce my Patreon when I first made it, which was another big mistake. As soon as I actually made a video for it, I actually got more than one person. Turns out if you want someone to do and look at something, the best way to do that is to make a video about it. But anyway, on Patreon, I'll post a big list of video ideas I have, and then have them vote on which one I should focus on. This video got picked, and so I made a Reddit thread asking, "Hey Reddit, what are some broken things in WoW?" or something other, something like that. That was a good video title. No, not a video title, a title for Reddit. Because if you say, "Hey, I'm making a video, can you guys give me some ideas?" you're not going to get any replies. But if you just ask a question to start a dialogue, you'll get more information. But the post I made, it did do well and got me a lot of useful information for the video. Of course, I obviously fact-check this stuff. I don't just take everything they say at face value. And the video did very well. And for a long time was my second highest performing video. Actually, I think my financial situation could have been solved by this video doing so well. Now that I'm looking back on it. So, the Patreon ended up being a huge help in the end, since they suggested I make the video. Currently, it's my 5th highest viewed video at around 750,000 views. About 3/4 of a million. Number 6, the top 10 ghosts in WoW. This video was a Halloween special video that I really ended up liking for some reason. And in fact, I used to use it as an example of my best top 10 video, because I thought it was so good. The video just goes over hidden ghosts in the game, which is a great topic for a top 10. It's not my favorite anymore, but it's still not half bad looking back on it. Number 5, top 10 morally questionable quests. This video came out rather recently, but I really love the idea for it. I had this video idea written down for like a little over a year, but never got around to doing it because I knew it would take a long time to research and gather footage for. Which I was right about. It took forever to make. At least 15 hours of footage gathering to get through all the quest chains needed to get that one quest I needed for that one part of the video. The final video is only 10 minutes long, but I could have easily dragged it on for half an hour or even an hour. God knows I had the footage for it, but I thought the video would benefit from less information and not overly explaining the morality of everything. Otherwise, I was afraid it would get too preachy. I ultimately think that was a smart choice, looking back on it. Also, that last stupid quest with Jaina purging Dalaran, I did dailies for like a month to get enough rep to unlock that stupid quest chain. The things I do for footage. Number 4, the top 10 rarest mounts. This video, which is currently my 3rd most viewed video at nearly 900,000 views, let me know that people really like videos on mounts. I've never really cared for them, so I never really tried to make a video on them before this one. And I only made this one because I thought it was an interesting idea. But I also have a funny story behind this video that has almost nothing to do with the video. Have you guys ever heard of another YouTuber called the Warcraft Bible? He was this WoW YouTuber who made very poorly edited top number videos about WoW stuff with super clickbaity thumbnails and pictures and titles, and he was doing very well for himself until another YouTuber by the name of Kakio made an exposed video on him showing that the Warcraft Bible had been plagiarizing almost all of his videos from online articles about WoW, like word for word, not even trying to change up some of the sentences. Now, me, Kakio, Crucial, and a few other WoW YouTubers were all part of a Skype group around this time. And while I was researching this video, the top 10 rarest mounts one, I noticed that the Warcraft Bible had a similar video, only on like the top 6 rarest mounts. Of the ones on his list, I think I only actually used one of them because it was a crappy list. So I skimmed through the video to make sure I wouldn't copy anything he said. Then, later on, I read an article online about 6 of the rarest mounts in WoW, and noticed it was the exact same list, with the exact same position of every mount. I thought, okay, he copied the list. That's kinda scummy, but not really a big deal. And then I read the article and everything in it sounded familiar. After cross-examining it with his video, I noticed it was an exact copy, word for word. And then like a day or two later, Crucial was researching a different video and mentioned in the Skype group that he found one of Warcraft's Bibles to be an exact copy of a different article. And then I joined in the chat and was like, hey, what a coincidence. I literally found out he copied a different article just the other day. And with that, Kakio went in and checked all of his videos and found that like 75% of them were just exact copies of articles from online. He made his video, exposed him, and the Warcraft Bible didn't take it very well and he shut down his own channel. Number 3, the top 10 strongest characters in WoW video. This video is no longer correct after the Chronicle books came out, but I had a lot of fun researching it and comparing the strength of various Warcraft people based on who they fought and whatnot. There were legitimate reasons for everyone's place in the list. The only thing I regret about the video is that I was sick when I recorded the dialogue for it, so my voice sounds terrible. But the thing is, it took me so long to actually edit the video together that by the time I was finished with it, I was already over my cold. And instead of re-recording the lines and editing the video around new, better lines, I just uploaded it as is out of laziness. You see, videos on lore characters, especially ones that don't appear in-game, are really hard to get footage for. So I have to actually create my own footage by using machinima tools and After Effects on artwork. In fact, I kinda make it a point to try and pick topics that I can actually get footage for in-game, and put off making this video for a long time because I knew it would take forever to make. But I really liked the idea and I made it anyway. And I think it turned out well, even if my voice in it is not the best, and the lore was changed for a few of the characters. I should really make an updated list. Blizzard keeps nerfing Lei Shen's lore every chance they get, so he probably wouldn't make the list on a second revision. Number 2, the top 10 Unkilled raid bosses video. This video, surprisingly, is my second highest viewed video, and my second video to get over 1 million views. And I have a funny story about it. You see, before making this video, I had 2 other top 10 videos, both on different bugs and glitches involved with raid bosses. And while making those 2 videos, I kept coming across this list while researching that listed the amount of time it took to down certain bosses. And I thought this list would make a great video, since I had already done so much research on more than half of the bosses on that list, because the big reason those bosses went so long without being killed was because they were super buggy. And I even still had footage of those bosses from the 2 other videos about buggy bosses. It was perfect. I just took the top 10 from the list and just explained why the bosses went unkilled for so long. And thanks to its wonderful name of the top 10 unkilled raid bosses, it got a ton of views. While the other 2 videos I made on it, in which I think are a lot more interesting, only did mildly well. Like, those 2 videos, they didn't do bad. They both have like around 200,000 views each, which is really good. But they didn't do over 1 million views good like this video did. Also, surprisingly, a lot of people thought the video would be about actual bosses in WoW that have never been killed, which I didn't think anyone would actually take the title literally. There is nothing in the game that has been unkilled. That's probably why I think the video has more dislikes than normal on it. It doesn't have a ton, but it definitely has more than an average video that's not a troll video. Troll videos usually get like half the bar in dislikes, but they're meant to troll people like that. Now, for number 1. The number 1 top 10 video is the top 10 Undead lore characters. I've had this idea floating around for years, but I never made the video because, well, for one, I thought it would take too long to make. Like I described earlier, lore videos just take longer to put together than most other kinds, since you have to create a lot of the footage and can't just record in-game for the most part. And 2, I thought the topic wouldn't be interesting enough for the amount of work it would take to make the video, so it wouldn't be worth my time. But then I put it up for a vote on Patreon with a whole bunch of other top 10 videos, and it was picked as number 1, surprisingly. I didn't think they'd pick such a boring topic over all the other much more catchy titles, but I went and made the video anyway. Well, I started working on it anyway. I actually made a couple of the other items on that list first, because those ones didn't take as long. I spent a month researching the video. I went through and read through every single major Undead lore character, and then picked out the 10 I thought were the most interesting, and that weren't Sylvanas or Arthas. Then I went back and made sure to read everything I could on each particular character on the list, and either go and do any quest chains that were involved with them, or watch videos on them if I couldn't do them myself, like I had to do with Galen Trollbane, since one of his quest lines takes place in the Death Knight Order Hall campaign. I don't have a Death Knight. Oh, at max level anyway. Then, after I did all that, I tried my best to summarize their lore into as short of summaries as I could go, while still telling their full stories, and while mentioning interesting facts about them. Then I recorded the lines, a few at a time every day, because the script was too long to do in one sitting. I could do it all in one sitting, but I didn't want to tire myself out and then rush through the end of the script, like I used to do in the past with long videos. And once I had all that squared away, it was finally time to start putting the video together. I used quest chain and cinematic footage whenever I could, but I also had to create a lot of the footage. So that took about 2 weeks to make. And at the very end, I want to make sure the music fit each section perfectly. And I spent a lot longer than I usually do on each section, listening to tons of my royalty-free music I use for videos. And finally, the video was done, about a month and a half later. I put the video out, and it did about as well as I thought it would, which was pretty mediocre. Not bad, none of my top 10 videos do bad, but it did a little bit less well than the average one would. But since the video was 30 minutes long, and of the few people who did watch the video, they watched large portions of it. and I made about as much money from it with ad revenue and YouTube Red as I would have from a 10-minute long video with 3 times the views. So luckily, the viewer retention on the video was excellent, which turned it into a successful video. So even if a longer video doesn't get a super high amount of views, it turns out minutes watched is actually more important, which means I can do another video like it without worrying about wasted time, because they take so long to make. Plus the video itself came out great. I mean, it better have for all the work I put into it. I remember watching it by accident because it auto-played while I was watching something else. And I sat through and I watched like half of it because like, man, I know I made this video myself, but that was a couple months ago and I've already kind of forgotten. And man, this video is really well put together. I don't remember putting this much effort into it. Good job, past me.